Hello, how is everyone? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I hope everyone is very well and your families are very well. Crazy times. I believe this is our first meeting since February. Is that correct? Beatriz Gonzalez? Hello? Can you hear me?
Francisco, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but...
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry, your question was this is the, what was your question? I'm sorry, I could barely hear you.
This is the first meeting since February?
I believe so.
Correct. So we have a pretty long agenda. Mr. Goldberg, is the quorum 5 members or 6 members?
It's 5. The city code provides that it is a majority of the number of appointed members, although this board can have up to 11. From my count, we have 8 appointed members, so simple majority would be 5. 4 would be not a majority, it's only 50%. So right now it's 5. If the other 3 spots are filled, it would increase.
Thank you. So I believe we have quorum. I'd like to call the meeting to order and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. So I believe we will confirm quorum, call attendance.
Ms. Napoles?
Present.
Mr. Delgado? Mr. Morales?
Present.
Ms. Cuervo?
Present.
Mr. Feinberg?
Present.
Mr. Feinberg?
Present.
Mr. Valadez? Mr. Cohen? And Chair Retes?
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Were there any absence or attendance waivers?
Yes, from Mr. Delgado. There was an absence waiver requested.
Thank you. Somebody make please a motion to accept.
I so move.
Any second?
Second.
Who is seconding?
Second.
Who is the first to second? Sorry, who's second first?
Yeah, Mr. Feinberg.
Mr. Feinberg. Thank you. All those in favor to accept, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion carries. I believe now staff is to be sworn in on the record.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Say I do, please.
I do.
Thank you.
I believe I have a statement to read. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the statement from Planning, Zoning, and Appeals Board meeting, July 20. Well, it says Planning, Zoning, Appeals Board. change that. Art and Public Places Board meeting. Statement of the chair. Pursuant to Executive Order Number 20-69, issued by the Office of Governor Ron DeSantis, as extended by Executive Order Number 150, on June 23, 2020, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing board or any other board subject to the Sunshine Law without having a quorum of its members physically present or at any specific location, and by utilizing communications, media technology such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120-54(5)(b)(2) Florida statutes. As such, the members of Art and Public Places Board are appearing remotely for this meeting. Procedures for the public comment will be explained by the Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I apologize since it's our first sort of virtual meeting. The statement I have to read is a little long, so sit back for 4 minutes or so. But I have to place in the record the efforts the city has taken to ensure public comment and compliance with state statute on this meeting. So bear with me. I apologize for the length of time this takes, but it's necessary. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6, the City Code must register with the city clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the Art and Public Places Board. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available at the city clerk's office or online on www.municode.com. In accordance with Section 2-888 of the City Code, written notice for this virtual meeting was provided to the city clerk at least 7 days prior to this virtual meeting. Since this is a virtual meeting and is authorized by the governor of the state of Florida, members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by visiting miamigov.com/virtualboards to submit their written comments via the online comment form. Members of the public may also call 305-250-5351 to provide comments via the dedicated City of Miami public comment voicemail. All comments will be submitted will be included as part of the record for this virtual meeting and will be considered by the Art and Public Places Board prior to any action taken. The Art and Public Places Board will accommodate any speaker desiring to appear in person, subject to all applicable emergency measures in place to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19. Any persons experiencing any symptoms will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by all state, county, and local emergency orders and are urged to remain at home and practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the Art and Public Places Board takes any action on such proposition. When addressing the Art and Public Places Board, the member of the public must first state his or her name, address, and what item will be spoken about. When the Art and Public Places Board takes action or votes on any proposition before it, it shall do so by a roll call vote, which shall be recorded by hearing boards and included in the record. Please silence all cell phone and other noise-making devices. Any person with disability requiring auxiliary aids, assistance, and services for this meeting may notify the board's liaison. The Art and Public Places Board is using Zoom to hold its September 21st, 2020 virtual meeting. Zoom is a cloud platform for video and audio conferencing, collaboration, chat, and webinars across mobile devices, desktops, telephones, and room systems. In order to ensure the public has the ability to view the meeting, the Art and Public Places Board will broadcast the meeting. The meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV at www.miamigov.com/TV, the city's YouTube channel, and on Comcast Channel 77 within the city of Miami. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Additionally, the Art and Public Places Board has not selected a virtual platform that requires the public to purchase or download any additional software or equipment to watch this meeting. Aside from the Zoom platform and the fact that participants will be appearing remotely, the public will have no discernible difference in their ability to watch the meeting. The Art and Public Places Board has developed several new methods of ensuring public comment for a virtual meeting and has established two new options. The first new option allows the public to provide public comments via dedicated Art and Public Places Board public comment voicemail. Individuals will be able to at least 2-minute message that will be played during the virtual Art and Public Places Board meeting. The second new option allows the public to submit comments via the Art and Public Places Board online comment form. The comments submitted to the comment form have been distributed to the board members and city staff throughout the day, so the Art and Public Places Board members can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the Art and Public Places Board members up until the chairperson closes public comment. For all the aforementioned options, all comments received will be included in the public record of the meeting. For these two new options, the Art and Public Places Board has a simple set of instructions explaining how the public may submit their comments with either option. Those instructions were provided in the notice to the public and published online at miamigov.com/virtualboards. Additionally, like any other Art and Public Places Board meeting, the public may provide comment at City Hall. The Art and Public Places Board has set up a terminal in the event members of the public travel to City Hall to provide public comment. However, due to COVID-19, All speakers desiring to appear in person will be subject to all applicable emergency measures in place to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms. Any person exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 will not be permitted to enter City Hall, but will be able to participate through the remote options described above. These three public comment options established and provided for the virtual Public Places Board meeting comply with Section 286.0114 and Section 120.54 Florida statutes. The Art and Public Places Board has published an agenda available upon request, as well as included in the notice to the public pursuant to our city code, and the items and topics that will be discussed at the virtual meeting. Additionally, the public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting with the terminal at City Hall and the online public comment form, and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting and during via the public comment voicemail and online public comment form. Moreover, Section 286.014, subsection 4, subsection C, specifically authorizes the Art and Public Places Board to prescribe procedures or forms for an individual to use in order to inform the board or commission of a desire to be heard, to indicate his or her support or neutrality on a proposition. The Art and Public Places Board, through its three public comment options, provided three different procedures and forms to indicate, among other things, speaker's support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at the virtual meeting. The Art and Public Places Board provided information on how to submit its comments in the notice to the public on a dedicated webpage and via its social media channels. Chairperson, are you comfortable with all the notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules of procedures for this virtual meeting?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Normally, we discuss each item separately and have public comment separately, but I'm not sure there are that many public comments already on the record or people in attendance. So why don't we open the public comment right now? And anybody who has a public comment may speak, because we have to swear everybody in first, correct?
Mr. Chair, there was also another opening remark about the census that you needed to read.
Oh, okay.
I just forwarded it to you again, and just in case you didn't have it.
I believe I didn't, but let me open it. Okay, this is for me to read?
Yes.
Okay, I'm reading from my screen. In yellow here, I guess. Good morning, or afternoon in this case. Before diving into today's meeting agenda, I'd like to share an important public announcement with everyone watching this meeting. Our time to complete the 2020 census and make Miami count is running out fast. The census is our chance to secure tens of millions of federal dollars to support important public projects and programs right here in the city of Miami. Money for affordable housing, local schools and hospitals, road improvements, and more. The deadline to complete your census form is September 30th, so there's no time to waste. The good news is that completing your census form is quick, secure, and easy. You can participate in one of three simple ways. Complete the paper form that was mailed to your home, complete the form online at 2020census.gov, or call 844-330-2020. It only takes about 5 minutes, but will have an impact on our Miami community for the next decade. Please do your part today and complete your 2020 census form. Let's all do our part. Make Miami count. Thank you. So after that, is there anybody in the public that wants to speak? Has any public comment on our agenda for today?
I don't think there's anyone at City Hall.
Nobody at City Hall, nobody here online, or no? Okay, thank you. Okay, if you don't have any public comment, let's close the public comment period. I hope he's fine too. He's great. And let's dive into our agenda for today. May I, Efren? The agenda points 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all approving expenditures in different amounts for different projects. Since they're very similar, maybe we can read them all in when we're discussing them. Maybe we can read them all in, and then unless somebody, one of our board members, has any comments on a particular one, we can vote them all at the same time. Is that possible?
Yes, we can, under consent items, we can move all the expenditure of funds from all the specific capital improvement projects that are associated with public art requirements as one vote as one individually read into the record with its corresponding conditions. If there are any other questions, I think I would ask the city attorneys, Mr. Goldberg, to chime in to see if this is something that we can actually do and move forward with.
Yeah, for the expenditures, that's fine. If you want to vote, since you've allowed for public comment, you can get any public comment. You can vote them as a block if you'd like. Approving installations or approving art itself, you should do it individually since you each have to apply the criteria to each individual item. But for the ones that are pure expenditure, then you can block vote them if you wish.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goldberg. So I propose we follow the order of our agenda, and when we get to the first of the expenditure items, we group them all in together and read them all as one, and then discuss and vote on them as one. So, item number 1.
Item number 1 is File ID 6670, a resolution of the Art in Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16, titled Art in Public Places of the Code of the City of Miami, as amended, approving or denying a temporary public art installation by artist Adam Vargas, aka Atomic, in partnership with Sei Shimura at Bellefonte Park, located approximately at 6161 Northwest 9th Avenue. And this item was actually withdrawn. There's a withdrawal letter in the package.
Okay, so it's withdrawn. We don't have to discuss.
Dan, do they still need to make a vote? Or
No, if it was withdrawn prior to the board hearing it, then it's not really within the jurisdiction of the board. It's still the applicant's application until the board starts to deliberate. If it was withdrawn prior to this meeting, then there's nothing the board needs to do. It simply can be marked as withdrawn.
Okay. Item number 2, File ID 7375, a resolution of the Art in Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, entitled Art in Public Places, approving the request by Entera Branding for a public art installation by artist Carlos Alves in accordance with Section 62-658 of the City Code on a parcel zone T6 80 Urban Core Transect Zone Open, located at approximately 401 Biscayne Boulevard.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with members of the board and the public in regards to this particular application. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yes?
Yes.
So as Beatrice mentioned, this is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board as a request from Intera Branding for public art installation by artist Carlos Alves in accordance with section 62-658 for a property zone T680 located in the downtown core at a parcel located at 401 Biscayne Boulevard, also known as the Bayside Shopping Center. The public art budget for this particular item is $14,500 as per the building permit in accordance with city code. On October 3rd, 2019, building permit number as listed here was flagged for public art requirement. The applicant opted to place a bond to secure its building permits. As such, on March 19, 2019, the pre-application meeting was held with the applicant to discuss their proposals. The applicant has contracted local artist Carlos Alves for the creation of the public art installation at this particular site. Here are examples of some of Carlos Alves' work that's done throughout the state of Florida. He specializes in mosaic tiles. This is an installation at the airport. Again, the site is located at 401 Biscayne Boulevard. This is a particular site. This is a public art installation as part of the Landshark Bar and Grill restaurant that's currently finalizing its interior build out for this particular site directly underneath the Hard Rock Cafe. So we work with the applicant to identify areas that are highly visible from the general public that would be able to incorporate public art in regards to this particular project. So there was various locations that were identified by the tenant and his project manager, along with the artist. So the artwork that's being proposed here is to mimic the waves of Biscayne Bay. There is a mosaic tile installation that's being proposed in the areas that was previously identified, as you can see here. The artwork has already been installed due to the delays in terms of when it originally came in and the fact that we've canceled our meeting. They finalized their building permits and they're moving through the process. This is the art installation that was done, as you can see here. So the recommendation from staff is that the planning department, pursuant to section 62-658, is to approve with the following conditions: that the applicant shall comply with the applicable requirements as part of their building permitting process for the installation of the artwork, that the artwork shall be installed substantially in accordance with the plans entitled Landshark, as prepared by Underwriter Laboratories, Inc., dated February 21st, 2020, consisting of 9 sheets, that the artwork shall be maintained in accordance with all applicable code requirements, and that the applicant shall install a plaque which shall include at a minimum the name of the artist, title of the work, and the Art and Public Places Board resolution approving the same. The applicant is online, so that concludes our presentation from staff. So I believe Mr. Ryan Weber is present. He's the representative for Landshark Bar and Grill.
Mr. Weber sworn in?
I do have an affidavit that he was sworn in. Mr. Weber, can you click to raise your hand if you're in here? I don't think he has audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, there we go.
Mr. Weber, would you like to add anything in addition to staff's presentation?
No, that's it. The plaque has been installed.
Oh, perfect.
Mr. Weber, you need to have your video on as well.
There, sorry.
Do we have any questions from the board?
Fellow board members have any questions or comments? No? I don't either. Anyone making a motion?
Make a motion to approve the public art project at Bayside by artist Carlos Alves.
Mr. Feinberg, could you please read directly from the agenda? Make the motion reading from the
I
agenda.
don't have that in front of me. Somebody else should do it then.
I could read the resolution for Mr. Feinberg. It's a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended. City Code entitled Art and Public Places, approving the request by Intera Branding for a public art installation by artist Carlos Alves in accordance with Section 62-658 of the City Code on a parcel zone T680 Urban Core Transit Zone located at approximately 401 Biscayne Boulevard, Florida.
I make a motion to approve what was just read by Mr. Nunez
With staff's conditions.
with staff conditions.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Cuervo. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Feinberg,
Aye.
Ms. Cuervo,
Yes.
Mr. Morales,
Approve.
Ms. Napoles,
In favor?
and Chair Retes.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 3, I believe.
Item number 3, file ID 7512. A resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Article 11 entitled Art and Public Places of Ordinance Number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, approving the waiver of public art fees pursuant to Section 11.4C1 of the Miami 21 Code in an amount not to exceed $495 for improvements pursuant to the Americans with Disabilities Act at Riverside Park located at approximately 342 Southwest 7th Avenue.
If there's any discussion, is there a motion to approve? Is there a motion to approve what was just read?
I make a motion to approve what was just read.
Second? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Cuervo. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Feinberg,
Approve.
sorry? Who made the motion?
Mr. Feinberg did.
Okay. Mr. Feinberg, Ms. Cuervo,
Yes.
Mr. Morales,
Yes.
Ms. Napoles,
Yes.
and Chair Retes.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. Now, item number 4 through 9 are the expenditures, the approval of expenditures. How would you suggest we do this, Mr. Goldberg? You want to group them all together?
You might just want to have maybe Efren just list out the locations and amounts. I mean, all the items are before you. You have access to the agenda. So if you want to block vote it as is, you may want to ask your fellow board members if there are any that they want to take out to discuss. It's really up to the body. You have it all in front of you. It's all been noticed. It can all just be voted on with little discussion if you have no real need for discussion. It's up to the body. Sorry if that's not really giving you much guidance, but it's.
But each of the items, each of the resolutions has to be read into the record, correct?
I think that's what we've been traditionally doing. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily a legal requirement. When you have, for example, city commission, you have to by law read ordinances, but not resolutions. You can do so. You can have them each read out and then block vote them, or one at a time, however you like to do it. If it gives you sort of more comfort that we are putting on the record what's being voted on, that's fine.
So long as we're complying with what we need to do, I'm okay. Just Efren trying to do them all together. I would ask, as Mr. Gobler has suggested, if any of you have any questions or comments regarding any specific one of these projects or expenditures.
And I would just ask that you put on the record what the item numbers are. Item 1, 6, and 8, or whatever it is that you're.
Yes, item 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All AIPP resolutions authorizing expenditures in different amounts for different projects. Are there any questions or comments from anybody on the board?
Mr. Chair, Efren, are you going to give us an overview of how these appropriations were determined? And because I assume that once the artwork, this is appropriating funds so that you can then go and seek artist bids?
That is correct. So there is the first step, which is we receive payment from the corresponding capital improvement project. The second phase or the second step is to go before the board to release those funds in order to go to step 3, which is to go ahead and start working on the call to artist process. So what I can do right now is I can go ahead and read each of these resolutions together with the appropriate address that the resolution is referenced to. And if the board has any specific questions as I read these resolutions into the record, feel free to stop me, all right? So item number 4, under file ID number 7549, is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16, entitled Art and Public Places of the City Code, approving expenditures up to $11,500 for the Art and Public Places from the Art and Public Places Fund to provide for, but not limited to, design services, commissioning, acquisition, and installation of public art as part of a call to artists for the integration of public art for the new restroom facilities at Antonio Maceo Park, located at approximately 5135 Northwest 7th Street, Miami, Florida. Item number 5, file ID number 7550, is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16, entitled Art and Public Places of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, approving the expenditures up to $13,500 from the Art and Public Places Fund to provide for design services, commissioning, acquisition, and installation of public art as part of the call to artists for the integration of public art for the new restroom facilities at Kennedy Park, located at approximately 2440 South Bayshore Drive. Item number 6, under file ID number 7551, is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16, entitled Art and Public Places of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, approving the expenditures of up to $80,000 from the Art and Public Places Fund to provide for design services, commissioning, acquisition, installation of public art as part of a call to artists for the integration of public art for the renovations and expansions of the existing Asian Park Community Center located at approximately 6447 Northeast 7th Avenue, Miami, Florida. Item number 7, under file ID number 7552, is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16, entitled Art and Public Places of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, approving or denying expenditures of up to $110,000 from the Art and Public Places Fund to approve for design services, commission, acquisition, and installation of public art as part of the call to artists for the integration of public art for the Shenandoah Park Aquatic Center located at 2111 Southwest 19th Street, Miami, Florida, making findings and providing for an effective date. Item number 8, a resolution under file ID number 7561, a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, entitled Art and Public Places. Give me a sec, my screen froze. Approving the expenditures up to $9,000 from the Art and Public Places Fund to provide for design services for the commissioning, acquisition, installation of public art as part of a call to artists for the integration of public art as part of the new park enhancements at Silver Bluff Park, located at approximately 1960 Southwest 24th Street, Miami, Florida. Item number 9, under file ID number 7562, is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board pursuant to Chapter 62, Article 16, entitled Art and Public Places of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, City Code approving the expenditures of $64,000 from the Art and Public Places Fund to provide for design services, commissioning, acquisition, and installation of public art as part of a call to artists for the integration of public art for the new aquatic center at Elizabeth Barrick Park, located at approximately 3255 Plaza Street, Miami, Florida. All these projects have conditions that are outlined in the corresponding resolutions. If the board has any specific question as to any of these items that we just read into the record, feel free to, I'm available to answer any of those questions that the board may have.
Ms. Cuervo, I believe you have a question, not with regard to individual items, but more generally, how these amounts, how planning came to these amounts, and in general, how is this process, and where are we, and what's next?
So as the board may be aware, each project is provides for 1.5% of the capital improvement project. On some of these particular projects, actually in all the projects that we have made available, we've increased the budget. We've provided additional funding from the Public Art Fund for some of these projects based on the scale of the project, based on working with the project manager. We've worked out a budget that we felt that would be appropriate for the integration of public art. Some of these particular projects are very small, so the opportunity for the placement or the integration of art is very limited based on the overall design of the project. Specifically for the Shenandoah Aquatic Center, we had transferred the public art funds, and that's a discussion items, but we have transferred the public art funds originally designated as part of the pocket parks into this particular project as requested by members of the community.
And so what are the next steps? What are the next steps in the process?
So the next step of the process is to release the funds in order to start the call to artists process, and in conjunction with working with members of the community to see how they envision public art. We've had some community outreach meetings specifically for Shenandoah. We're working individually with each of the commission office to start that community process for these particular projects.
All right, and we are working. We're working closely with each of the commissioners' offices.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll continue to do so. Okay. It's a total of $288,000. Do you have an idea of the amount currently in the fund?
There's roughly a little bit over $1 million in the public art fund.
Wow. Okay. And with regard to the master plan,
so we will be bringing at the next meeting a resolution to the board for the release of funds for the execution of the public art master plan at the next meeting.
okay, sounds good. So with regard to these items or expenditures, are there any other comments or questions? Ms. Napoles?
This is the master plan specifically? for 2020, 2021?
So this item is coming to the board at the next meeting. I would rather wait for the next meeting to discuss the master plan. We have another presentation that we're waiting to, that the applicant's waiting online to move forward. But yes, we will be bringing a resolution for the execution of the master plan, along with the design guidelines and the arts, culture, and creative economy element for the Miami Neighborhood Comprehensive Plan.
Sorry, any questions with regard to the approval of the expenditures? Yes, Ms. Napoles?
Are we going to have neighborhood committee type of a Zoom as well before approval or not?
Are you talking about the master plan?
No, I'm talking about this particular proposals, different monies already aside for this project.
So, Chair, Ms. Napoles, we're working individually with each of the commission offices. We had a Zoom meeting with the residents of Shenandoah in regards to public art and how they envision it, how do they envision public art in their community. So we did have a Zoom meeting. We took input. Based on that input, we drafted the call to artists. So we have a draft call to artists already in place. We can't proceed until the board issues a resolution, so we can go ahead and release that call to artists. But the idea is to have that type of engagement for the vast majority of our public art installations. For some of these installations where it's so minimal, we're going just to coordinate with the commission office to see how they would like to proceed with these particular installations in terms of how much community involvement should we move forward with.
Perfect.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Morales?
And then will the artist proposals be reviewed by a professional advisory committee?
So yes, so we have at the last, I don't recall how long ago we passed, or this board passed the resolution to establish a public art committee. We will go ahead and start working on assembling that public art committee.
Thank you. Is that okay?
Could you, yeah, I'm sorry, could you just give us a little more detail about the process by which that committee will be formed? Oh, now I'm remembering, we created a set of criteria.
That is correct. I don't have the ordinance or the legislation in front of me. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But then from here, the staff will take over the appointment of those committee members?
Correct. So we will start the process, the application process, and we'll be bringing that to this board.
Great, thank you very much. I don't know if there are other questions, but I'm ready to move on this resolution.
Okay. Is that a motion?
I move to approve.
Okay. Second?
Items 4 through 9, yeah.
Second.
Is that Mr. Feinberg?
Yes.
Have a roll call vote, please. On items 4 through 9.
Mr. Feinberg,
Approve.
Mr. Morales,
Approve?
Ms. Cuervo,
Yes.
Ms. Napoles,
Approve.
and Chair Aretes.
Approve.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I ask
Number
a
10.
question.
Yes, Mr. Feinberg?
Whatever happened with that situation where there was a where our process got ahead of the community, and one of the commissioner's aides was at a meeting and came forward to say that this hadn't gone before him yet, and we sort of were out of sequence. Do we know what happened there? Or?
So that is the direct result of the community meeting that we had in Shenandoah in regards to the aquatic center. And that's one of the reasons why we're now working directly with each of the commission offices as we move along in the process for each of these projects based on the corresponding districts.
All right, so that sort of set up a protocol. of
Correct.
sorts.
Yes.
That was actually a pretty positive experience, correct, Efren?
Yes.
So correct. So we had a Zoom meeting. Our understanding from IT that Zoom meetings, community Zoom meetings, have a very low turnout. Usually around at the most 5 to 6 people will turn out for a community meeting. In regards to the Shenandoah community meeting for the public art component, we had a total of 29 people show up. So IT was surprised to see how many people actually showed up to discuss public art as part of the Shenandoah Aquatic Center. So it was well received by the community and artists that sought to participate and hear how the residents envisioned art in there as part of the new Aquatic Center.
Actually, yes, actually, I was part of the community meeting the other day with Coral Gables, City of Coral Gables. And I think it's very commanding to do that. It will avoid a lot of consequences as we have it before.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure. Item number 10.
Item number 10, file ID number 7869, is a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board approving the applicant Saya Woodfolk's request for a public art installation and acquisition by donation of the art entitled Chapel for a River of Grass by artist Saya Woodfolk and commissioned by Hulu LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, in accordance with section 62-658 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, City Code, as an acquisition of art by the City of Miami on a parcel zone CS Civic Space Transit Zone located at approximately 2820 McFarland Road, Miami, Florida, also known as Peacock Park, making findings containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. I have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to try to keep it as minimal as possible since we have the artist and we have a rep from Hulu here who can speak more on to the specifics of the project. But let me go ahead and share my screen in the meantime. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So Hulu approached us a couple of months ago. They're doing this women's equality project where they selected 3 cities across the country, Miami being one of the 3, with Atlanta, Miami, and Los Angeles. So we were really excited and very fortunate to be one of the selected cities. As part of the presentation, I'm going to go ahead and show you the introductory video that Hulu has in regards to this particular project. I'm going to go ahead and play it.
In the US, there's only 394 public sculptures of women. There are 4,799 of men. I think we decided that we had to change the presence of women in those public spaces. Last year, for a single day, we put up the number of statues that it would take for there to be equal number of female and male statues in that city. It really worked. I'm Saya Woodfolk. I am a Brooklyn-based artist. There are 3 cities that we're working with. The first one is Atlanta. We're partnering with Saya to bring to life a statue for Coretta Scott King. Coretta Scott King is one of our unsung heroes. King Center will remain deeply committed to the cause of human rights. We wanted to do something that would have real impact. We're working on a monument. People actually will engage with this object. The best way to create these conversations in our communities are to have places and spaces that people can look to and ask more questions. At Hulu, we partner with storytellers and creators and writers every day. There are stories to tell, and we want to tell them. In the US,
Now I'm going to show you the brief PowerPoint presentation on this particular item. Again, I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. Actually, the more I think about it, just so I'm not redundant on this particular item, I think I would rather just have Saya and Daria present the project. Again, this is a project that's a donation to the City of Miami's Public Art Program. City of Miami, through its Public Art Division, was one of three cities selected across the country. And I'm just gonna allow Daria and Saya to speak more on the project, and I'm gonna go ahead and release that.
Were they sworn in prior?
Are they sworn in was the question.
Beatrice, I believe they provided affidavits.
Okay.
As swearing.
Thank you.
Yes, they did.
Thank you. Please.
Hey, Daria, do you want to start?
Sure. And now I'll share my screen to go through that presentation. I'll try to keep it brief as we're entering the evening time. Great. So as you saw from the video, Hulu decided to back up what began as a women's equality campaign in 2019 with action, and to generously fund the permanent installation of 3 artworks dedicated to women around the United States. And as Efren also mentioned, there are 3 cities. The first one is Atlanta, in no particular order, where we will be putting a piece to Coretta Scott King. And now we are proposing to the city of Miami an incredible monument to honor Marjory Stoneman Douglas, who everyone knows as the brilliant and incredible environmentalist. Saya is linking these statues thematically with the idea of it becoming a place where not only the public can reflect upon this particular woman's life, but also feel part of this continuum of women in one sense, and also feel connected to the actual the activism that Marjory Stoneman Douglas was known for. And that would be why you can find yourself sitting in her chair rather than seeing her there. So as I go through the deck, most I already spoke on. So Saya is an incredible visual artist who we selected because she works in so many mediums and she is so versatile. And she's really proving that out now in a wonderful way with these 3 monuments. So what she has designed is, of course, based off of not only Marjory Stoneman Douglas's life, but Marjory Stoneman Douglas's passion, which was the Everglades. And now we know as well that this is required reading in public school, as Efren told us too. So we thought it would be lovely for the students to have somewhere to visit as well. So Saya, if you can walk us through the artwork. The location that we chose tentatively is in Peacock Park, Coconut Grove, in proximity to Stoneman Douglas's home. And we will, of course, work with the city to find the absolute best location around there that makes sense. But this is where we started as Bayshore and McFarland turn the corner. And here's the artwork. So I think Saya can best describe what we're looking at.
I think I'm gonna take over this screen.
All right.
Just to make it easier to control the presentation. There we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Hi, so I'm Saya Wolfalk. I'm a visual artist, and I generally make large-scale multimedia artworks, and this is kind of the first opportunity I've had to make a series of monuments. I've made public art before. I've worked for, done projects for the MTA in New York City, and also for the Department of Cultural Affairs in the public schools, but I've never had this incredible opportunity to make 3 monuments to 3 incredible women across the United States. And my concept was that I wanted the objects to not be places where you would go and contemplate something, but it would be a place where you would interact with the installation, the sculpture, and kind of have an experience. For Coretta Scott King, I designed a chapel. It's called the Chapel to the Beloved Community, and inside of the chapel are microphones where you can speak your commitments to civil rights. And for Marjory Stoneman Douglas, after researching her life and her work and her kind of commitment to having these deep and intimate conversations with people on her porch, in her life, as an activist, as a writer, and also actually reading Rivers of Grass while I was taking a kayak ride was actually really beautiful. It almost felt as if Marjory Stoneman Douglas was whispering in my ear and telling me about kind of the landscape that was around me. And so I wanted to kind of get a bit of that into the artwork, this feeling of intimacy, of a conversation, and the power of a conversation to really transform the ways in which we interact with one another and interact with the environment. So as a part of the artwork, there's a dome, and the dome is almost a kind of sky. It's stainless steel. It's painted stainless steel. So parts of it, the silver parts, will be stainless steel. They're unpainted. The golden parts are painted stainless steel, and they're intended to evoke the royal palm trees that are throughout the Everglades. The ground will be a terrazzo covering on the floor, and lily pads will kind of be floating in this terrazzo mosaic. Her words will be etched on the surface of the terrazzo, almost as if they're coming out of her book, almost as if she's whispering to you as you're having a conversation with your colleague about your commitments to the environment and the Everglades. And there will also be next to, if you can see right here, next to these 2 chairs that are intended to evoke like seats coming straight out of the mangrove, a hat, and her book, as if Marjory Stoneman Douglas had just stepped away from that chair and you were able to kind of step into her seat and take her place. The quotation on the ground is, "The miracle of light pours over the green and brown expanse of sawgrass and of water, shining and slow moving below." And the site that we chose has a really wonderful canopy of trees above your head and is surrounded by grass and is just adjacent to the water. And all of those kind of natural elements, I'm hoping, will site specifically create a place for this work to really live as if it's supposed to be there. As you gaze up into the dome of the chapel, you'll have this kind of experience of a golden sun. As I'm sure all of you know, stainless steel is reflective. And so we'll make sure that we burnish it down so it doesn't become a kind of hot surface. But I really love the idea of the shadows and the reflections and the light kind of playing with the architecture of the building and also projecting the shadows all around you as you're enveloped in this kind of dome sitting underneath this sky. The artwork itself is 14 feet tall and 12 feet wide in diameter. And here are a number of different installation views in the proposed location. Thank you.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Let me ask, how many monuments or memorials to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas are there in Miami?
I am aware of one, which is at the FIU Botanical Gardens. That is the only one which happens to be in Coral Gables. For a monument to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, a woman who lived in the city of Miami and who lived a few blocks away in Coconut Grove, there is none.
It's beautiful. I love it. I don't know. Any other questions or comments?
I would be just really enthusiastically in favor of supporting this. I think it's a fantastic project, perfect setting, and couldn't be more meaningful to pay this tribute to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And I think this would be an incredibly significant, I believe this would be the first addition to our collection. Is that correct, Efren?
That is the first private donation to our collection, correct?
Yeah, I think it would be a fantastic inaugural gift.
So,
Ms. Cuervo?
No, I just want to congratulate you. It's a fantastic project, and I mean, we're lucky to be the beneficiaries of this and of your work. So we're very, very, this is fabulous. Thanks.
I'll just add that I know Saya's work, and she has a very distinguished career. She's a really notable emerging artist.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. Ms. Napoles?
Absolutely beautiful for our community.
Oh, so nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Feinberg?
Well, I think it's great. In terms of the placement in the park, was that sort of, has that been determined as an absolute or?
I believe it's dependent upon what's actually under that site in the park. Is there electric running below? How can we excavate? So once we look into the logistics, we'll be able to pinpoint. But what's wonderful about that location is that it's both on the street and protected by the park. It's also just outside the canopy of trees that Saya described, so to avoid the root system, not disturb the root system. So those are the little considerations that we keep in mind. So you could see it whether you're in or out of the park, and that we'd be able to safely excavate for the concrete pad.
No, it's great. It's beautiful.
Any other questions or comments? It's gonna be easy. Is there a motion, please, to approve?
I would love to make a motion to accept this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Cuervo. Do we have a roll call vote? Oh,
Mr. Chairman, can I read the conditions of the approval?
oh, I'm sorry, of course.
So staff, give me a sec. So I'll read the motion so we don't have to read it again. So there's a resolution of the Art and Public Places Board approving the applicant Saya Woolfolk's request for a public art installation and acquisition by donation of the art of the art entitled Chapel of the River of Grass by artist Saya Woolfolk and commissioned by Hulu LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, in accordance with section 62-658 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, the city code, as the acquisition of art by the City of Miami on a parcel zone CS Civic Space Transit Zone located at approximately 2820 McFarland Road, Miami, Florida, also known as Peacock Park. Staff is recommending the approval of the donation of the artwork with the following conditions: that the applicant shall comply with the applicable requirements as part of the building permitting process for the installation of the artwork. Condition number 2, that the artwork shall be installed substantially in accordance with the conceptual plans entitled Chapel for a River of Grass, as prepared by Saya Wolfolk, consisting of 13 pages attached here to as Exhibit A, and that the applicant shall work with the City of Miami's Public Art Division to install a plaque which shall include at a minimum the name of the artist, title of the work, and the Art in Public Places resolution number. And that the applicant shall work with the City of Miami's Public Art Division to install a temporary installation within the community room at Peacock Park, which said display shall tell the story of the artwork entitled Chapel of the River of Grass, as part of the unveiling process. And those are the conditions recommended by the board. I mean, by the Public Art Division.
I just have 2 questions before. What's the value of the donation, and what's the time frame for completion?
I will defer to the applicant on that one.
So in preparation for this meeting, we actually did not get a donation estimate. But maybe Daria, you can speak more to that. I mean, for the City of Atlanta, in order to give them that estimate, and it wasn't for this meeting, it was subsequently, we requested that information from my art dealer, Leslie Tonkino, who gave us an estimated value for the work. So I can't actually answer that question right now. And the time frame, I think Daria is better at that one. Yep.
Yeah, the question, we can get the valuation as soon as the size of the piece is confirmed. So
Yeah.
that if we're moving forward with the piece in the dimensions that we're speaking of, then we can go seek that valuation
That's
right away.
It's above the threshold where we need to approve, correct, Efren?
I'm sorry?
It's above the threshold where we need to approve the value of the donation. That's
Yes.
correct. So, okay. Any other questions?
The time frame?
Oh, time frame, Daria?
The time frame is, I believe, once we're squared away with the correct engineering plans, and we'll move rather quickly. We already have our fabrication team in place. They're doing Atlanta as well, so we have a nice workflow with them. We anticipate it'll be smooth. I would say the beginning of 2021.
Yeah, we have a lovely fabrication team, MetaLab, who has done public artwork and fabricated public artwork in Miami before. So they have experience doing the surveying process and implementing large scale projects with the particular geographic and also environmental conditions that Miami requires.
You. I believe Mr. Morales had made a motion and Ms. Cuervo had seconded the motion.
With the staff conditions, just
With
to add.
conditions. Correct. Thank you, Mr. Morales. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Morales,
I move to accept.
Ms. Cuervo,
Yes.
Mr. Feinberg,
Approved.
Ms. Napoles,
Okay.
and Chair Heretes.
Yes, accept and thank you very, very much.
The decision is, the motion passes unanimously and the decision is final unless appealed to hearing boards within 15 days.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Efren, I believe we have one more item in a discussion.
I believe that item number 11 is the resolution, and let me pull it up. Give me a sec.
Calendar.
the adoption of the the calendar. So it's file ID number 7810, a resolution of the City of Miami Art and Public Places Board approving the Art and Public Places Board meeting dates for the 2021 calendar year. The dates are, or the calendar is attached to the resolution that was emailed to the board members. If there's any questions specific to the calendar, staff is available to answer those questions.
I saw it, double checked, it didn't coincide with Basel or anything like that, but who knows what next year is going to look like. So I'm okay with the dates. If everybody's okay with the dates. Ms. Napoles?
Are we going to remain on the third Monday?
Yes.
All right. It's easier that way.
With the exception I'm looking at here of January and February, because the third Monday, they're holidays.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you have Martin Luther King and President's Day happens to fall.
Correct.
So we have it on the second Monday instead of the third Monday, correct?
Correct.
Only for January and February?
Yes, I'm looking at this now. I'm quickly glancing. That seems to be the case.
It is, yes.
And also that seems to be the case just for January and February. Any additional questions on this item?
Any additional questions or comments on the calendar? We ready? We're okay? All right. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll approve the calendar as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Feinberg. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Ms. Cuervo. Just an up and down vote, I guess. All those in favor to approve the motion, say aye.
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 All those against? Motion passes. We have one item for discussion regarding the pocket parks, Efren.
So under file ID number 7038, discussion item under Swananoa and South Shenandoah Pocket Parks. We had a community meeting where Ms. Cuervo was in attendance in regards to these particular pocket parks. The desire of the residents in the Shenandoah neighborhood was to move the allotted funding that was allotted for the two pocket parks to be added onto the overall budget, public art budget for the Shenandoah Aquatic Center.
Okay, so not much to discuss with regard to that. Thank you for going to that, Ms. Cuervo. I think it was it's a really good turnaround from how we started on the wrong foot, I guess. Really the relationship with the district and the commissioner's office has turned around. So congratulations, Efren, on that. It was very well done. It's great that we're getting ready for the master plan. That's fantastic. And to get that done now in 2020 would be, to get that rolling in 2020 would be fantastic. So that's great. Have you heard anything with regard to phase 2?
So we are tentatively scheduled for November of this year for phase 2 to go before City Commission.
Interesting. We'll cross our fingers. Anybody have any other questions or comments with regard to the meeting today? No? Great meeting, great presentation by Hulu. Also, Efren, congratulations. I know you guys worked hard on that as well. That's going to be great for the city. So I think if we have nothing else to discuss, I make a motion to adjourn. Who seconds?
I can second.
All right, all those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
All right, all those against, motion carries. Adjourn.
Aye.
So nice to see everybody alive.